Hey guys, this is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the weekly Sunday forecast for the dates of March 13th through the 19th. We will be encountering a full moon during this week in the sign of Virgo during Pisces season. Complimentary. Virgo is the sixth sign. Pisces is the 12th. So interesting, like planetary energy going on. A lot of the planets have been in Pisces. The Sun, Jupiter. There's a lot of like weird stuff, good stuff going on, I think. So just be aware of that full moon. Full moons are about releasing and letting go. So that's coming up towards the end of this week. But just a little bit of the explanation about the channel. For those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu. In there is stuff that I want you to know about while utilizing the channel, how to get in contact with me, how to book a private reading. All of that information is available to you there. Each one of these cards that I pulled today will represent a day or two of the week for you. If these things don't match up to you or don't make any sense to your life, that's okay. You might be working on something different than the majority of the viewers of this video. Now, what was the other thing I was going to say? If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. Please hit that thumbs up button. And please share the video out with friends on your social media, all of that sort of stuff. Help me to get the word out. Help me to build my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And so let's see what's going on with the cards this week. Oh, and one other thing too is if you're watching this out of sync, like on a date that's different than the dates that it was originally created for, that's okay. If the message still makes sense to you, even if you're watching it and the whole week sounds like one of your days, right? Like all three cards sound like a very specific situation you're in and that makes sense to you, use it. Because spirit, our higher self, the universe has ways of getting us messages that, don't necessarily always make sense. So if this video shows up in your feed and it's 2026 and it's November 13th and you're like, what he's saying fits completely to this very moment in my life, you don't have to use this as a weekly. You can use it as just your reading. I believe in the flexibility of the messages. This is a collective, all signs, shared reading. So therefore, it can apply to many different people in many different ways at many different times. All right, so let's see what's going on here. I don't like that cut. That was messy, so we're going to shuffle one more time. There we go. All right, so for our first beginning of the week, we have the Four of Cups. Look at her. She's not very happy. Four of Cups, to me, is sometimes about indecision. It's sometimes about kind of being a little bit petulant, not willing, holding our ground emotionally, maybe not willing to. I kind of get a feeling that when I look at this, we might be sort of not stuck, but like holding tight to what we feel to be true for ourselves. And that may not be in complete alignment with what everybody else feels. And that could be creating some sort of sadness, a little bit of, I don't know, she kind of almost looks depressed to me a little bit. There's things that are being offered to her, or there's opportunities around her that she doesn't necessarily see. If we find ourselves stuck or in an emotional state where we can't focus on sort of what's positive or see the positive outcome, don't fret. I want to say you might be where you need to be. There might be some reflection that needs to take place within our emotions that we need for ourselves, right? I also get this sense that this can be about us sort of sitting with our emotions and coming to understand them better and owning them, right? Not necessarily allowing others to influence us or tell us like what we feel is wrong, right? There's a bit of ownership here. I do get this sense when I'm looking at her, she feels a bit sullen or lonely, right? Like she's like left alone in her feelings, and not in a bad way. I feel like there's work to be done here, or there's like stability to be created here, because fours oftentimes for me associate with the idea of stability. And so becoming stabilized in our emotions and through this card, and what this card is kind of drawing up in me is this is like we have to sit with what we feel, and then we have to kind of hold to it, right? We have to not necessarily allow other people to influence us out of whatever it is we are feeling. We need to feel it wholeheartedly, and then like kind of embrace that, even if it's like not the best of feelings. Does that make sense to you? Like, I feel like she is sort of, how do I want to say this? Reflecting, taking an inventory, checking herself emotionally. And that cherub on the side there, he's like, oh, don't feel bad. Like, you know, like that could be, that cherub could be representative of our family, our friends. Why focus on the negative? Well, the reality is something's maybe not right for us emotionally, right? Something doesn't add up. Somebody's not treating us the way we feel we need to be treated, or it's something to that effect, right? But when we reflect and we sit with these emotions, we start to figure out the truth of them, right? And what is true for us, and we become more comfortable with them, and we actually become more foundationally strong within our emotional body. So I think that there's actually a good thing that happens here, even if we're feeling emotionally off or disconnected, because it's forcing us to sort of sit within ourselves and within our own emotions. And from that place, we can maybe make a better, more foundationally sound decision for ourselves. But we might have to kind of cut out some of the riffraff, if that makes sense. Now, the midweek card, interesting, is the Page of Swords, our little private investigator. We are questioning everything this week, not only emotionally, but also mentally. Page of Swords is air sign, right? He can oftentimes represent an Aquarius, a Libra, or Gemini, usually of the younger variety. If this is somebody that's like coming into our life this week, or somebody that we're dealing with this week, if this is an actual person for some of you. But for those of you that it's not, and it has to do, these cards have to do with the self, to me it feels like there's a little bit of sorting going on this week about where are we at emotionally first, standing strong in those emotions, and then sort of maybe potentially learning how to create the thoughts that we need, right? These are the bubbles that are around him. Pages are often about learning. They're about, you know, youth and understanding, figuring things out. They bring new messages with them, right? There could be new understandings of how we feel and therefore how we think, and learning how to maybe retrain our thinking or investigate things further. That's sort of also the unsureness I feel in that Four of Cups. There could be a situation we're involved in or dealing with where we're not quite clear on how we feel about it or what we think about it, right? And so we're trying to suss that out this week. There's these two cards together make me feel like there's a little bit of a shaky, I don't want to say foundation, but it feels to me like we're not sure about whatever it is we're dealing with it. And each one of you is going to be dealing with something different, right? One of you, it could be your boss or your job at work. Somebody else, it could be your relationship with your partner. Another one of you, it could be your child, right? Dealing with your child. But whatever it is for you, it's emotionally pulling at you. It's making you question things, and it's making you feel a little bit, I want to say, unsure, confused, and you're trying to get, this week, it appears as though we're trying to get on surer footing with this situation, whatever that may be. To do that, we have to sit with our emotions. We have to understand and become foundationally secure in how we feel about the situation, the person, the whatever it is we're looking at. And then with the Page of Swords, we need to kind of understand the information we're getting, not only emotionally from within our own selves, but also mentally what we're putting out and what's being communicated back to us. And that might not be quite so clear either, right? That's also the page. And so the page has to learn. The page has to sort of figure stuff out as he goes. And he will, because he's an investigator. He's naturally inquisitive. He's paying attention. Sometimes he can indicate, you know, a little bit of a lie being around us, or a little bit of a, you know, something's not completely as it seems, feelings, and that's why he needs to investigate. So if there's something that feels off, because we have that Four of Cups in the beginning, and then we're perceiving that offness through our own mental capabilities, don't be surprised by it. It's almost, to me, like the word of the week is like, let your environment indicate to you. Well, see, this is funny because sounds like the antithesis of what I usually believe in, which is I believe that we create our environment. But I feel like with these two cards, it feels like we're taking a back seat to that, and we're actually allowing our environment to show us what it is we're creating for ourselves through our own thoughts and emotions. Does that make sense? And so we're learning something this week. That page would indicate learning something intellectually, communicating it, learning how to better communicate it ourselves. But we have to sort of feel it first. We have to walk through the feelings, settle into the feelings, understand the dismay, understand the disgruntledness, understand, maybe sadness, pain, whatever it is that we've maybe been avoiding. Now it's time to sort of sit in it, and then to start to learn how to think or communicate our way through it, whether that's with ourselves or with another person, or within a situation. Does that make sense? And so he's questioning, like, you can totally see that on his face. He's questioning the thoughts that he has, the ideas that he's communicating. Is this the right time to say what I need to say? Am I in the right mood to express what I need to express? To me, I get a funny feeling that these cards are kind of giving me this idea of be really cautious this week in how and where we express ourselves, because it could come out, I don't want to say inappropriately, but like, if we're not careful, my feeling is it could come out childlike in a way. That's the vibe that I'm getting from these two cards together. It's just like we could not communicate successfully, because I kind of get a feeling like these two cards together haven't figured themselves out quite yet, or how they feel quite yet. And this is the week where we sort that out. We don't necessarily want to fire that out on anybody. Does that make sense? And then the last card, exactly. Thank you. I love it when the cards do this. The last card is Major Arcana, which is similar to last week's reading where we ended on the Magician. And it wasn't the best of cards. Remember, we had the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Swords, and then we had the Magician at the end. This week we have Temperance. Temperance is associated with the sign of Sagittarius, which is associated with the planet Jupiter. Temperance is about maintaining one's balance, keeping one's peace, staying grounded, right? Her one foot is on the ground and one foot is in the water. So she's in touch with her emotions up here, but she's also clear on staying grounded and not making any sudden, false, assumptive, quick moves or any of that, right? Staying in our own lane and passively watching things transpire is really the key to this week, is my feeling, because we're going to get further. We're going to have a better awareness or understanding. That's the crown chakra halo around her, moving more quietly, more peacefully through this week as we are gentle with ourselves, right? In our emotions and in our thoughts. That's going to be key this week. By the end of the week, we should feel a bit more at peace, a bit more grounded, a bit more emotionally sound, even a bit more graceful, understanding our own true grace, our own true ability to be at peace within, say, a situation that maybe brought us a little bit of emotional and mental confusion at the earlier part of the week. So Temperance is a welcome card in this reading, as far as I'm concerned. It says, in some way, even if we act childish, we could still find a way to either repair that or find the grace within ourselves to maybe not act out upon that, to kind of maintain our composure, be graceful, stay in the middle of the lane or in the middle of the road, not take a side, not be combative, being, patient enough to allow the situation to show us what it is, and then we act accordingly in the days or weeks to follow, right? So let's see what the Sacred Destiny Oracle card has to say. Oh, delight. We have a new card here. This is a sparrow. Sparrows oftentimes indicate past loved ones. I love all of the flowers. I love the green. I love the blue. All of that to me feels healing. And I love the sparrow because it looks like it's about to take off, right? And in flight. And so to me, before I even read the card to you, it feels like the beginning of the week and the midweek might be a little bit questionable as to how we feel. But by the time we get to Temperance, we're actually flying or peaceful enough within ourselves that we understand that everything's going to be okay no matter what, kind of thing. And delight reminds us to sort of take peace or delight or grace in exactly where we are in that moment, because this bird can fly, right? But it's staying seated right exactly where it is. And there's beauty around this bird, right? Similar to how we have the cherub offering the cup to the girl in the Four of Cups, and she's not able to see it, or she's not able to accept it. There's something about how we need to figure out how to see the beauty around us, and then how to understand that we can like sort of lift ourselves up and fly off and be in delight this week. Even when it doesn't feel that delightful, right? Because it may not at the beginning of the week for some of you. Now I'm going to read you delight. Sparrows in spring grass. The sparrow gains its power from its numbers. In clusters, sparrows eat and forage, and predators are distracted and deterred, even intimidated by their numbers. Security and joy in numbers is a lesson of the sparrow. Within their community, sparrows are always busy living life fully. Many cultures align in the meaning of the sparrow with joy, and in the Middle Ages, the sparrow was thought to relieve suffering, help one triumph over hardships, and bring joy. The sacred landscape wants you to know delight is expanding in your life. Clap your hands with glee, spend time with others, go to a community gathering, host a party. The joy you experience will give birth to immense creativity, and your life will blossom. Share your happiness and elation with others, and it will grow by leaps and bounds. This isn't the time to be serious or buckle down and get to work. This is the time to be spontaneous and madcap. Do not make the hard and fast commitments. Don't sign any legal documents or make any pledges right now. Don't make any promises, or you might not be able to keep them. Give yourself permission to have fun, lots of fun, especially in community with others. So, let's see what the grounding stone is. And the grounding stone for this week is on obsidian, which is extremely grounding, deep within us, and it is wisdom. So we need to ground in our own wisdom, our own emotional wisdom, our own mental wisdom, and within that wisdom, allow that wisdom to keep us, lead us to this place of temperance, to lead us to this place of delight, to lead us to this place of enjoyment, even if we're in the face of sort of a little bit of emotional or mental kind of confusion or uncertainty, right? Let that wisdom like balance us. Grounding in that wisdom will bring us back to that space of this too shall pass, right? And that's also very much a temperance kind of statement. That way we can seek out and find that delight or that joy, even in the things that maybe don't necessarily appear as if they're as joyful as they should be. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, guys. We will look and see how these cards continue to unfold throughout the week. And I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. And for those of you that support me, please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the reading. Share the video out. Share it with your friends. Leave me a question or comment and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you guys this week and seeing how this all unfolds. And have a wonderful week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.